Welcome. In this video, we'll learn how to search for and find external evidence for your clinical or research question. We'll discuss keywords, subject headings in MESH, and Boolean operators. We'll then talk about how to utilize these different tools for our search strategies in PubMed and other relevant optometry article databases to find the sources we need. I'll explain how to do this using our clinical question about the effectiveness of the 2020 rule for reducing digital eye strain. We'll be looking at several databases in this video. So to access these databases, you need to click their links from the library's website. You cannot Google the name of the database and access them that way. The reason is that the link on the library's website includes Pacific single sign-on, and that's what provides you with access. You can find access to them in two ways. The first is through the A to Z database list. Click Databases under the search box on the library's website. Then select Optometry from All Subjects drop-down menu. You'll see a list of the databases with content related to optometry. The second way is from the Optometry Resources Guide. You can look either under Evidence-Based Optometry page and under Find, where to look for evidence. This will give you a list of the different types of databases, starting with background resources such as Clinical Key and Access Medicine, where you can start off searching for general information, and then foreground sources where you can find research studies like databases like PubMed, CINAHL, Web of Science, and VisionCite. You can also find these same databases on the background sources page and the article databases and EBP resources page. Here's a list of the databases that you can find for optometry. So when I'm searching and I'm at the stage where I'm looking for studies, I start with PubMed and then keep searching additional databases until I found what I need, or I've started to find many of the same results in different databases. I'll often search PubMed, Web of Science, CINAHL, Google Scholar, and VisionCite. We'll start off by looking at background sources in order to find general information about our topic that will help us focus our clinical question and give us ideas for keywords when searching. I found this source in Clinical Key, so it's part of a book chapter and explains what digital eye strain is. One thing we learned from it is that we might also use the keywords asthenopia, digital eye strain, or computer vision syndrome. It says that asthenopia means weakness or debility of the eye or vision, and that asthenopic symptoms associated with the use of digital displays have been collectively referred to as digital eye strain or computer vision syndrome. We also might find keywords by starting our search in a database such as PubMed. When we've seen an article that looks relevant, we can read the title and abstract to see if there are any new keywords that we could use. We could also look at the subject terms or MESH terms in PubMed. On the right, we can see the list of MESH terms for this article. So what are subject terms? Most databases will have their own subject terms. When an article is entered into a database with subject terms, it will be assigned all of the subject terms in that database that the article is related to. For this example, when this article was entered into PubMed, it was assigned the MESH terms we see here, such as adolescent, asthenopia /epidemiology, COVID-19 /epidemiology, and cross-sectional studies. This means that whenever someone searches using any of these MESH terms, the article will appear in the search results. As a note, in PubMed, some articles take a few months to receive MESH terms. This means that you can't find them when searching just using MESH terms, but you can find them using keywords. What's really nice about subject terms is that you can find all of the articles on a topic that have been indexed with that subject term. For example, if one article uses the term digital eye strain and another article uses the term computer vision syndrome, both articles would probably be indexed using the MESH term asthenopia. So you could find them both that way. You'll notice that subject terms are called different names in different databases. As we saw in PubMed, they're called MESH or medical subject headings. If you want to see if there's a MESH term for a certain keyword, you can go to the MESH database and enter the keyword. In this example, I entered eye strain and found the term asthenopia. There's a description of the term under the title. It reads term usually to describe complaints related to refractive error, ocular muscle imbalance, including pain or aching around the eyes, burning and itchiness of the eyelids, ocular fatigues, and headaches. This sounds like what we're looking for. So if we click Add to Search Builder on the right side, the MESH term with the syntax that you would use to search for it appears in the PubMed search builder box. You can copy this term and paste it into your research log. The syntax is in quotations, austenopia, and then in square brackets, mesh. This indicates to PubMed that it's searching for a mesh term as opposed to a keyword. We could also choose to limit our search to therapy for austenopia by clicking the box next to therapy and clicking add to search builder. Then we could use the mesh term austenopia/therapy mesh, which would bring us articles specifically related to therapy for austenopia. An example of when it's important to check that you're using the right mesh term is the mesh term for child. If you read the description, it includes persons 6 to 12 years of age. It indicates that individuals 2 to 5 years old would fall under the child, preschool mesh term. If you search the mesh database, you would find mesh terms for infants and adolescents. In this case, if you use the mesh term child to search for articles about children aged 5, you would find articles instead about children aged 6 to 12. Next, let's look at CINAHL, which is a nursing database. The subject terms are called CINAHL subject headings. You can click the link at the top of the page and then enter your keyword and click browse. You'll browse the search terms until you find one that is related. Here we can see that dry eye syndromes would be appropriate. If we wanted to, we could click the therapy, to limit it to therapy for austenopia. Then you can see all the articles that have been assigned the CINAHL subject heading for therapy for dry eye syndrome. Our next step would be to write down our keywords and our mesh or any other subject headings we're planning to use in our research log. Here we can see our keywords for digital eye strain and that we have one mesh term for it. There aren't any mesh terms related to the 2020 rule, so we would just search it as a keyword. The next thing to notice is that many databases, you can choose a basic search box or an advanced search box. The advanced search boxes often have 3 or more lines where you can enter your search terms using Boolean logic. They may also show you other search options. Now let's learn how to connect our keywords and mesh terms using Boolean operators and or not. I recommend using only and or. It's quite rare when using not would be very useful. You want to use and to connect unique concepts. This brings you search results containing all of the search terms that you connected by and. For example, the 2020 rule and digital eye strain are unique concepts. If you want to find articles that are related to both the 2020 rule and digital eye strain, then you would connect these two keywords with and. 2020 rule and digital eye strain. Or is used to connect similar terms or synonyms. When you connect search terms with or, your search results might contain one or all of the keywords. You want to use this when a unique concept is called by different names and don't want to miss out on articles that use a different word or describe it differently than we do. So we know that we might find articles about digital eye strain that call it eye strain, computer vision syndrome, or austenopia. So instead of just using searching for digital eye strain, we could search for digital eye strain or computer vision syndrome or austenopia. And then we'd get search results that are related to any one of these terms or to all of these terms. You could also use not to exclude the search terms to the right of the not. For example, if you wanted to find articles that were about adults and not about children, you could search for adults, not children. However, I do not suggest using not because you might exclude relevant articles unintentionally, and it's nearly always possible to limit your search results to relevant articles with just and or. Now let's put our search strings together using and or. First, we put parentheses around our related search terms that we have connected with or. In this example, we put parentheses around digital eye strain or computer vision syndrome or austenopia. Next, we connect our unique concepts with and. We just have two unique concepts, the 2020 rule and digital eye strain. Our search string would be 2020 rule and, in parentheses, digital eye strain or computer vision syndrome or austenopia. If we are using a basic search box like the one on top in this example that just has one line, then we can paste it in with the parentheses. If we're using an advanced search box like the one on the bottom with multiple lines, we can paste each unique concept into a line. And so we would enter 2020 rule on And on the second line, which connects to the first line by and, we would enter our second unique concept about digital eye strain with all of the related terms: digital eye strain, or computer vision syndrome, or austenopia. The other thing you can add to your search terms is quotation marks. Quotation marks bring up 2 or more words in the exact order you enter them inside of the quotation marks. So if you entered topical medications, only results that had those exact words in that exact order would appear. Conversely, if you search for topical medications without the quotation marks, you might find results that had the words topical and medication, but not necessarily in that exact order. This can sometimes be helpful and sometimes not. Sometimes I find that if I use quotation marks, I get the exact sources I need in my results. Other times I find out that I'm missing relevant articles when I use quotation marks. So I recommend trying both ways when you search. Here are some examples of how we could put our search strings together. The top example is a search string using quotation marks. It also has the mesh term austenopia. The second one is without the quotation marks. The third one uses no quotation marks for mesh terms, and the fourth uses the 20-20-20 rule to search. The key is to keep changing your search in string until you find relevant search results. For this example, all I really needed to do was search the 20-20-20 rule because I really am only interested in articles that specifically reference it, because I want to see if there have been any studies that look at its efficacy for treatment. When using PubMed, you can use the PubMed Advanced Search Builder to see if PubMed is using your search terms the way you wanted to. I searched for 20-20-20 rule and digital eye strain or computer vision syndrome. And then I clicked Advanced Search under the search box. I can see my search under History and Search Details below. If I click the chevron next to my search, I can see how PubMed has interpreted my search string. Now that you know how to use Boolean operators, quotation marks, and mesh terms in a search string, you can understand this and see if it looks correct. For example, I can see that PubMed is searching for 20-20-20 and rule as keywords. It has added and then is searching for many forms of the word digital and the mesh term for austenopia, or any of the keywords for eye strain, or any of the keywords for computer vision syndrome. It looks on target. However, if we saw something that didn't make sense, such as a keyword, keywords that were off topic, or a mesh term that wasn't working, we could just adjust our search accordingly, as I described in the previous slide, or make sure our search results were relevant. What you see here is that PubMed is automatically including mesh terms for austenopia in the search, so we don't have to add those mesh terms ourselves. Look for additional filters for your search results. Here you can see the different filters offered by PubMed and CINAHL. For example, if you're looking for a randomized controlled trial, meta-analysis, or systematic review, you could click those boxes to limit your search results to these types of studies in PubMed. However, just because you use these filters does not mean that the results will be 100% correct. You might still find some results that are different types of studies from time to time. It's still up to you to appraise the studies you find. Another great way to find relevant sources is to look at the references of the articles you find. You can see what sources the author cited. In the beginning of the article, the authors should provide a literature review, which includes relevant literature that might be useful for you as well. Several databases such as PubMed, Web of Science, and Google Scholar show you articles that are similar to the one you're looking at. They show you cited by articles. This means articles that are in the database that you're looking at that have cited the article you're looking at. These would be more recently published articles. I highly recommend checking out these 3 options when searching. If you'd like to keep current on a topic, you can create a search in PubMed. What it will do is allow you to get back to the search anytime. And if you click the email option, it will also email you whenever new articles are added to PubMed that fit your search parameters. This means that you'll be notified whenever a new article about your topic is published and added to PubMed. You do this by first logging into PubMed in the upper right. This is your personal login, and so you can use your Pacific Gmail to log in, or your personal Gmail account, or some other login options they provide. After you're logged in, you can create an alert under the search box. Then select whether you'd like to receive email updates of new search results and click Save.
To access your saved search, go to your account on the top, click the top right, and click Dashboard. On the right, you'll see your saved searches. You can see how many articles have been added to the search results since you last viewed it. I just performed this search, so 0 search results have been added so far, but you can see that some of my previous saved searches have hundreds of search results that have been added since I last viewed them. I also wanted to show you VisionCite. It's a database from the Illinois College of Optometry library that contains citations of journal and professional magazine articles on the subjects of optometry, ophthalmology, medical sciences, contact lenses, practice management, reading, perception, and other vision-related subjects. This database was created to fill a need for a citation database for these subjects since optometry is a smaller field and there isn't currently a comparable commercial database. However, it's not a commercial database and it's a little clunky, and so I wanted to give you pointers on how to access it. Next to the link to the database, you'll see Get Login. Because it doesn't work with single sign-on. You first need to click that button and you'll see the username and password that you need to log in. I suggest copying the username and remembering the password. Next, click the link to VisionCite. When you get there, first click Sign in the upper right corner. Next, enter the username and password. Make sure you haven't pasted in extra spaces in the username or password. After you've signed in, type in a search term and click Search. At this point, you'll see the search box has changed to include a drop-down menu that reads Library Catalog, no VisionCite. To actually search the VisionCite database, you need to select VisionCite from the drop-down menu and then click Search again. You'll then see VisionCite at the top of each search result and know that you're searching the correct database. This is just a citation database. However, when you go to access the full text of articles, look for links to access the full text at Pacific, where you'll be provided with a link to the full text or a link to request the item through interlibrary loan. As always, contact the library if you have any trouble accessing any resources. My last tip is for you is that you can search Google the same way you're searching these databases using Boolean operators and quotation marks. You can also limit your searches to a specific type of domain, such as .gov or .edu, or to a specific website, such as aoa.org. You would write cite::.edu after your search terms, and this would give you search results that have .edu in the URL. This would mean that they would have to be from .edu websites, in other words, websites from institutions of higher education. This can really help you find more relevant search results when you're doing your searching. For another example, if you searched 2020 rule and, in parentheses, digital eye strain in quotes, or Astanopia, and then space cite::.gov, all of the search results must have .gov in their URL, so they must be from government websites. You can see in these search results that there are 2 articles from PubMed, such as from USA.gov, one from Oregon.gov, and one from NASA. Much better than just doing a Google search. These can also be useful if you're searching for data that you think might be available from a government organization. In the next video, we'll select and appraise articles we find. Remember to contact me or the library, help options with any questions, or to work on any steps of your research process.